Welcome to Wisdom Audiobooks. Have you ever wondered why people seem more interested in you when you stop chasing them? Why does becoming unattainable trigger such powerful reactions in others? The truth is, human psychology operates on principles that are often counterintuitive. When you become difficult to attain, whether in love, relationships, or even professional settings, you create a sense of intrigue and value that others can't ignore. This audiobook will uncover the psychological principles behind human attraction and teach you how to leverage them for healthier relationships, greater self-worth, and personal success. Introduction. The audiobook When You Become Unattainable, This Is What Really Happens is written and published by Wisdom Audiobooks. This is more than just an audiobook, it's a guide to understanding the hidden dynamics of human behavior and using them to your advantage. Whether you're struggling with confidence, relationships, or self-worth, this content is designed to empower you with actionable insights. We know what it feels like to be overlooked, undervalued, or taken for granted. Many of us have been there, chasing someone who doesn't seem to care as much, feeling invisible in a crowded room, or doubting our worth because others don't acknowledge it. It's frustrating, isn't it? You give so much of yourself, yet the response you get doesn't match your effort. Or perhaps you've felt the sting of rejection, leaving you questioning whether you're enough. These struggles are real, and they affect millions of people every day. I want you to know that you're not alone. Every person listening to this has faced moments of doubt, insecurity, or frustration at some point in their life. It's part of being human. But here's the good news: these challenges don't define you. What defines you is how you respond to them. At Wisdom Audiobooks, we believe that knowledge is power. By understanding the science of attraction and the psychology of unattainability, you can take control of how others perceive you, and more importantly, how you perceive yourself. In this audiobook, you'll discover the psychological principles that drive human attraction, how to build healthy boundaries without pushing people away, practical strategies to boost your confidence and self-worth, real-life examples and actionable steps to apply these lessons immediately. By the end of this journey, you'll have a deeper understanding of yourself and others. You'll learn how to navigate relationships with grace, authenticity, and strength. So I encourage you to listen closely and absorb every word. This is your opportunity to transform your mindset and elevate your life. Your wisdom journey starts here. Chapter 1: The Psychology of Attraction. In this chapter, we'll explore the science behind human attraction and why becoming unattainable can create a powerful pull. Attraction isn't just about looks or charm, it's deeply rooted in psychology. By understanding the principles that govern how people respond to each other, you'll gain insight into why certain behaviors make us more appealing and how you can use this knowledge to your advantage. Let's begin by breaking down what makes someone truly irresistible. 1. What makes someone irresistible? Attraction is a complex interplay of physical, emotional, and psychological factors. It's not just about how someone looks, it's about how they make others feel. To understand this better, let's delve into 3 key dimensions of attraction. 1.1 Physical attraction, beyond looks. While physical appearance plays a role in initial attraction, its influence diminishes over time unless it's paired with deeper qualities like confidence and authenticity. Studies show that people are drawn to those who carry themselves with assurance. As Maya Angelou famously said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about owning who you are. For example, think of celebrities like Jennifer Lawrence or Ryan Reynolds. Their appeal lies not only in their looks but also in their ability to be relatable, funny, and genuine. They don't try too hard to impress, they simply embrace their uniqueness. And that's magnetic. 1.2 Emotional attraction, the power of connection. Emotional attraction occurs when someone feels understood, valued, and supported. This type of connection often stems from vulnerability and empathy. Brené Brown, a renowned researcher on vulnerability, once said, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing, it's having the courage to show up when you can't control the outcome." When you allow yourself to be vulnerable without oversharing or seeking validation, you create space for meaningful connections. However, there's a fine line between vulnerability and neediness. Being emotionally available doesn't mean giving everything away at once. It means sharing authentically while maintaining boundaries. 1.3 Psychological Attraction: The Role of Mystery. Psychological attraction is where the concept of unattainability comes into play. Human beings are wired to crave what they can't fully have. This principle is rooted in something called the scarcity principle, which states that limited availability increases perceived value. Think about luxury brands like Rolex or Hermes. Their products aren't just expensive, they're exclusive. And that exclusiveness drives desire. The same applies to relationships. When you're somewhat mysterious, when you don't reveal everything about yourself right away, you spark curiosity. As Albert Einstein once remarked, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science." In relationships, mystery keeps people intrigued and invested. 2. The myth of perfection versus authentic confidence. Now, let's address a common misconception: the idea that perfection equals attractiveness. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Here's why. 2.1 Why perfection falls flat. Perfection is intimidating, not attractive. When someone appears flawless, it creates an emotional distance because no one can relate to perfection. People want to connect with real humans, not untouchable ideals. That's why social media influencers who showcase their struggles alongside their successes tend to resonate more deeply with audiences than those who present a picture-perfect life. Take Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as an example. He's one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood, yet he openly shares stories of his failures and hardships, from growing up poor to battling depression. His authenticity makes him relatable, even though he's achieved extraordinary success. 2.2 The Magic of Authentic Confidence. Authentic confidence, on the other hand, is incredibly appealing. It's about knowing your worth without needing constant external validation. Oprah Winfrey captured this beautifully when she said, "You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anybody." Confidence isn't arrogance. Arrogance pushes people away, while confidence draws them in. Confident individuals inspire trust because they radiate self-assurance without needing to dominate conversations or seek approval. So, instead of striving for perfection, focus on cultivating confidence through self-awareness and self-acceptance. 3. How distance creates desire. Finally, let's talk about one of the most fascinating aspects of attraction: the power of distance. Have you ever noticed how people become more interested in you when you're not constantly available? There's a reason for that. 3.1 The Science Behind Distance. Research shows that intermittent reinforcement, a pattern where rewards, like attention or affection, are given unpredictably, creates stronger attachment than consistent reinforcement. This is why gambling machines are so addictive. Similarly, when you're not always around, people start to wonder, "What's going on? Do they still care?" This uncertainty fuels curiosity and desire. 3.2 Real-life example. The art of playing hard to get. Playing hard to get isn't manipulative, if done authentically. It's about prioritizing yourself and ensuring that your presence feels earned rather than expected. A great example comes from history: Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. She was known for her intelligence, wit, and strategic use of unavailability to captivate powerful men like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. She didn't chase them, they chased her. Cleopatra understood the art of balance. She wasn't aloof or cold, she simply knew her worth and commanded respect. Her story reminds us that unattainability isn't about rejecting others, it's about valuing yourself enough to set standards. 3.3 Finding the Sweet Spot. Of course, there's a difference between being unattainable and being inaccessible. If you go too far, you risk alienating people. The key is finding the sweet spot where you're approachable but not overly available. For instance, responding to texts within a reasonable time frame shows respect for the other person's time, but waiting a little longer adds an element of anticipation. As Coco Chanel wisely put it, Don't spend time beating on a wall, hoping to transform it into a door. Instead of chasing after people who don't value you, focus on creating healthy dynamics where mutual respect thrives. 4. The role of scarcity in building value. Scarcity isn't just a marketing tactic, it's a fundamental principle that shapes human behavior. When something is rare or hard to obtain, its perceived value skyrockets. This concept applies not only to material goods but also to relationships and personal interactions. 4.1 Why scarcity works. Think about diamonds. They're not inherently more valuable than other gemstones, but because they're marketed as rare and exclusive, people are willing to pay astronomical prices for them. The same principle holds true in interpersonal dynamics. When you're not constantly available, whether emotionally, physically, or mentally, you signal to others that your time and energy are precious commodities. Psychologist Dr. Robert Cialdini, author of Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, explains that scarcity creates urgency. He writes, "Opportunities seem more valuable to us when their availability is limited." In relationships, this translates to the idea that people want what they can't easily have. If you're always around, always saying yes, and always eager to please, you risk being taken for granted. But if you create moments of absence or unpredictability, you spark curiosity and heighten interest. 4.2 Balancing scarcity with authenticity. While scarcity can enhance attraction, it's important to balance it with authenticity. Being unattainable shouldn't feel like a game, it should stem from a place of self-respect and healthy boundaries. For example, imagine someone who loves spending time with friends but occasionally says no to social invitations because they prioritize self-care. That person isn't playing games, they're simply honoring their own needs. And paradoxically, this makes them even more appealing because they demonstrate strength and independence. A powerful illustration of this comes from the life of Audrey Hepburn. Known for her elegance and grace, Hepburn was also fiercely private. She rarely gave interviews and guarded her personal life fiercely. Her selective presence in the public eye only added to her allure. People admired her not just for her beauty but for her dignity and poise. By choosing to be scarce, she preserved her mystique, and her legacy endures to this day. 4.3 Applying scarcity in everyday life. So how can you apply this principle without seeming aloof or disinterested? Start by setting clear boundaries. For instance, if you're texting someone, don't feel obligated to reply immediately every time. Give yourself permission to wait, even if it's just 30 minutes, before responding. This small act signals that your attention is valuable and not endlessly available. Another way to practice scarcity is by investing in your own growth. Take time to pursue hobbies, learn new skills, or focus on personal development. When you're busy becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally radiate confidence and purpose. As Steve Jobs once said, "Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work." When you're passionate about your own journey, others will naturally be drawn to your energy. 5. A story of transformation, from neediness to confidence. Let me share a short, inspiring story that illustrates the power of embracing unattainability. It's about Sarah, a young woman who struggled with low self-esteem and a pattern of chasing after unhealthy relationships. Sarah had always been the type to give too much of herself in relationships. She would text her partners multiple times a day, drop everything to meet them, and constantly seek reassurance that they cared about her. Despite her efforts, these relationships never lasted long. Each breakup left her feeling drained and unworthy. One day, Sarah decided enough was enough. She started reading books on self-improvement and psychology, including works by Brené Brown and Esther Perel. Slowly, she began to understand that her neediness stemmed from a lack of self-worth. She realized that until she valued herself, no one else would either. Sarah made a conscious decision to change. She stopped texting her crushes first, focused on her career, and joined a yoga class to reconnect with herself. At first, it felt uncomfortable. She worried that stepping back would push people away. But to her surprise, the opposite happened. Her friends noticed her newfound confidence, and started reaching out more often. Even her ex-boyfriend tried to rekindle their relationship, but this time, Sarah wasn't interested unless he respected her boundaries. Today, Sarah is in a loving, balanced relationship where both partners value each other equally. She credits her transformation to one simple truth: when I stopped chasing love, it found me. This story highlights an essential lesson. Becoming unattainable isn't about rejecting others. It's about valuing yourself enough to demand respect and reciprocity. 6. Practical takeaways for cultivating unattainability. Now that we've explored the psychology behind attraction, let's summarize some actionable steps you can take to embrace unattainability in your own life. 1. Set boundaries. Decide what behaviors you will and won't tolerate in relationships. Communicate these boundaries clearly and stick to them. 2. Practice delayed responses. Whether it's replying to texts or accepting invitations, give yourself permission to pause before reacting. This creates a sense of anticipation and shows that your time is valuable. 3. Invest in yourself. Focus on activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. The more content you are with yourself, the less you rely on others for validation. 4. Be selective with your attention. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your thoughts, emotions, or time. Choose wisely whom you invest in. 5. Embrace mystery. Share bits of yourself gradually rather than all at once. Keep people guessing, and let them earn deeper levels of intimacy. Remember, becoming unattainable isn't about shutting people out. It's about inviting them into a healthier dynamic where mutual respect thrives. Chapter 2. The Power of Becoming Unattainable. In this chapter, we'll dive deeper into what happens when you embrace the mindset of being unattainable, how it impacts others' perceptions of you, and why it works so effectively. Becoming unattainable isn't about creating distance for the sake of manipulation. It's about valuing yourself enough to set healthy boundaries and letting others recognize your worth. We'll explore common mistakes people make when trying too hard to be liked, how to build boundaries without alienating others, and real-life examples that demonstrate the transformative power of unattainability. By the end of this chapter, you'll have actionable strategies to apply these principles in your own life. Let's get started. 1. Why being easy to get can backfire. One of the biggest misconceptions in relationships is that being overly available or agreeable will make people like you more. Unfortunately, this approach often has the opposite effect. When you're always saying yes, always eager to please, and constantly chasing after someone's attention, you inadvertently devalue yourself in their eyes. 1.1 The Trap of Neediness. Neediness is one of the most unattractive traits a person can display. It sends a clear message. I need you more than you need me. This imbalance shifts the dynamic of the relationship, making the other person feel burdened by your expectations rather than drawn to your presence. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who clings to you, constantly seeking reassurance or validation? How did it make you feel? Chances are, it felt suffocating. As psychologist Dr. Guy Winch explains, when someone acts needy, they unintentionally push others away because they create emotional labor. The truth is, people are naturally attracted to those who seem self-sufficient and emotionally stable. When you act needy, you signal insecurity, which can erode trust and respect. 1.2 The Paradox of Availability. Being overly available creates another problem: predictability. Humans are wired to crave novelty and excitement. If someone knows they can count on you to always say yes or drop everything for them, they begin to take you for granted. You become a given, not a gift. Take dating apps as an example. Users who respond instantly to every match often find themselves ghosted or ignored. Why? Because their eagerness signals desperation, which lowers their perceived value. On the flip side, users who wait a few hours, or even days, to respond tend to spark more interest. Their delayed response creates intrigue and curiosity. 1.3 A real-life example: the overly available friend. Consider the story of Mark, a man in his mid-30s who prided himself on being the best friend anyone could ask for. He was always there for his friends, whether it was helping them move apartments, offering financial support, or simply being a shoulder to cry on. But over time, Mark noticed something troubling. His friends stopped reaching out as much. They only contacted him when they needed something. At first, Mark assumed he was doing something wrong. Maybe he wasn't interesting enough? Or maybe he talked too much? But the real issue was simpler and more profound. By being overly available, Mark had trained his friends to see him as a utility rather than a person. His constant willingness to help made them complacent, and they stopped valuing his contributions. This story illustrates a crucial lesson: availability without boundaries leads to exploitation. To avoid falling into this trap, you must learn to balance generosity with self-respect. 2. How to build healthy boundaries. Now that we've explored the dangers of being overly available, let's talk about how to establish healthy boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls. They're guidelines that protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being while fostering mutual respect in relationships. 2.1 What are healthy boundaries? Healthy boundaries are limits you set to define what behaviors you will and won't tolerate from others. They ensure that your needs are met without compromising your values or dignity. For example, saying no to requests that drain your energy. Setting limits on how much personal information you share. Communicating your expectations clearly and assertively. As author Brené Brown puts it, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're essential for maintaining healthy relationships. 2.2 Types of boundaries. There are several types of boundaries, each serving a unique purpose. 1. Physical boundaries. These involve your personal space and physical touch. For instance, if someone hugs you without asking, it's okay to politely decline next time. 2. Emotional boundaries. These protect your emotional well-being by preventing others from overstepping into your personal feelings or dumping their emotions on you without reciprocation. 3. Time boundaries. These involve how you allocate your time and energy. For example, not answering work emails during personal hours or setting aside specific times for self-care. 4. Intellectual boundaries. These safeguard your thoughts and opinions, ensuring that others respect differing viewpoints without belittling or dismissing them. 2.3 How to communicate boundaries effectively. Setting boundaries requires clear communication. Here's how you can do it effectively. Be direct but kind. Use I statements to express your needs. For example, instead of saying, "You always interrupt me," try, "I feel valued when I'm able to finish my thoughts." Stay consistent. Once you've set a boundary, stick to it. Inconsistency sends mixed signals and undermines your authority. Practice saying no. Many people struggle with saying no because they fear rejection or conflict. However, saying no is an act of self-respect. As author and Lamont wisely said, "No is a complete sentence." 2.4 The benefits of boundaries. When you establish healthy boundaries, you create a foundation for mutual respect. People begin to see you as someone who values themselves enough to demand respect in return. This shift transforms the dynamics of your relationships, making them more balanced and fulfilling. For instance, imagine a scenario where a colleague constantly asks you to cover their shifts at work. By politely declining and explaining your need to prioritize your own schedule, you not only protect your time but also encourage your colleague to take responsibility for their tasks. Over time, this fosters a culture of accountability and respect. 3. Real-life examples of unattainability. To further illustrate the power of becoming unattainable, let's explore 2 real-life examples that demonstrate how this principle can transform relationships and elevate personal success. 3.1 Example 1. The elusive entrepreneur. Meet Alex, a successful entrepreneur who built a multi-million-dollar tech startup. Early in his career, Alex struggled with networking. He would attend events, hand out business cards to everyone he met, and follow up obsessively via email. Despite his efforts, he rarely secured meaningful partnerships or collaborations. One day, a mentor advised him to adopt a different approach: focus on quality over quantity. Instead of chasing every opportunity, Alex began attending fewer events but made sure to engage deeply with a select group of individuals. He stopped sending generic follow-up emails and instead personalized his messages, sharing insights or articles relevant to each person's interests. The results were remarkable. People started reaching out to Alex, not the other way around. His newfound selectivity signaled that his time was valuable, and others responded by valuing him more. Today, Alex attributes much of his success to this shift in mindset. As he puts it, "When I stopped trying so hard to be liked, people started respecting me." 3.2 Example 2. The confident single woman. Next, consider Julia, a woman in her late 20s who had spent years feeling frustrated in her dating life. She would go on dates, invest heavily in getting to know her matches, and often text them first. Despite her efforts, these connections rarely progressed beyond a few weeks. Determined to change her pattern, Julia decided to experiment with being less available. She stopped initiating conversations and focused on activities that brought her joy, like painting and hiking. When men she dated expressed interest, she responded thoughtfully, but not immediately. She also avoided oversharing personal details early on, choosing instead to let the relationship develop naturally. The transformation was striking. Men who had previously seemed lukewarm suddenly became more attentive and invested. One man even told her, "You're different from anyone else I've dated. You have this quiet confidence that's really attractive." Julia realized that her newfound unattainability wasn't about playing games. It was about prioritizing herself and allowing others to step up. These examples highlight a universal truth. When you value yourself and set standards, others are compelled to meet you at your level, or risk losing you altogether. 4. Avoiding common pitfalls. While embracing unattainability can yield incredible results, it's important to avoid common mistakes that may undermine your efforts. Let's discuss 3 pitfalls to watch out for. 4.1 Mistake number 1. Confusing unattainability with coldness. Becoming unattainable doesn't mean shutting people out or acting aloof. If you come across as cold or indifferent, you risk alienating those who genuinely care about you. The goal is to strike a balance between warmth and mystery. Smile, show kindness, and be present, but don't give everything away at once. As actress Audrey Hepburn once said, "For beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge of your own worth." Your demeanor should reflect both grace and self-assurance. 4.2 Mistake number 2. Overdoing scarcity. While scarcity enhances attraction, taking it too far can backfire. If you're never available or fail to reciprocate interest, people may perceive you as disengaged or uninterested. The key is to remain selective while still showing appreciation for those who matter to you. For example, if a friend invites you to dinner, it's okay to decline occasionally, but make sure to accept their invitation sometimes too. This demonstrates that you value their effort and cherish the relationship. 4.3 Mistake number 3. Losing authenticity. Finally, don't lose sight of who you are in the pursuit of unattainability. Authenticity is the cornerstone of genuine connection. If you start pretending to be someone you're not, whether it's acting overly mysterious or adopting behaviors that feel unnatural, you'll sabotage your progress. Remember the words of poet Maya Angelou. "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them." Stay true to yourself, even as you embrace new strategies for growth. 5. Actionable strategies for becoming unattainable. Now that we've explored the theory behind unattainability, let's dive into practical steps you can take to implement this mindset in your daily life. 1. Audit your availability. Take stock of how much time and energy you currently dedicate to others. Are you spreading yourself too thin? Identify areas where you can pull back and focus on yourself. 2. Master the art of delayed responses. Whether it's replying to texts, emails, or invitations, practice waiting before responding. Even a short delay can create intrigue and signal that your attention is valuable. 3. Invest in personal growth. Pursue hobbies, learn new skills, and prioritize self-care. When you're busy becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally exude confidence and purpose. 4. Practice assertiveness. Learn to say no without guilt. Start small, for example, declining a social invitation, and gradually build up to bigger decisions, like setting boundaries in close relationships. 5. Celebrate small wins. Every step toward unattainability is a victory. Acknowledge your progress, whether it's resisting the urge to text someone first or standing firm on a boundary you've set. Chapter 3. Applying the principles in real life. In this chapter, we'll transition from theory to practice. You now understand the psychology of attraction and the power of becoming unattainable. But how do you apply these principles in your everyday life? Here, we'll provide actionable strategies to help you boost your self-worth, master communication skills, and build stronger relationships through the art of scarcity. These steps are designed to be practical, relatable, and easy to implement, regardless of your current situation. Let's dive into the tools that will transform your mindset and elevate your interactions. 1. Boosting your self-worth. Self-worth is the foundation of everything we've discussed so far. Without a strong sense of self-value, it's nearly impossible to set boundaries, embrace unattainability, or attract healthy relationships. Let's explore how you can cultivate unwavering confidence from within. 1.1 Understanding self-worth. Self-worth isn't about external validation, it's about recognizing your inherent value as a human being. Too often, we tie our worth to achievements, appearances, or the opinions of others. But true self-worth comes from within. As author Marianne Williamson famously said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." When you internalize this truth, you stop seeking approval from others because you already know you're enough. This shift is transformative, not only for your own well-being but also for how others perceive you. 1.2 Signs of low self-worth. If you're unsure whether you struggle with low self-worth, here are some common signs. Constantly seeking reassurance or validation from others. Feeling guilty when you say no or prioritize yourself. Comparing yourself to others and feeling inferior. Avoiding challenges because you fear failure. Do any of these resonate with you? If so, don't worry. Self-worth is something you can build over time with intentional effort. 1.3 Strategies to build self-worth. Here are 5 proven strategies to help you develop a stronger sense of self-worth. 1. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a friend. When you make a mistake, avoid harsh self-criticism. Instead, remind yourself that imperfection is part of being human. 2. Celebrate your strengths. Make a list of your qualities, skills, and accomplishments. Reflect on them regularly to reinforce your belief in your capabilities. For example, if you're a great listener or have a talent for problem solving, acknowledge these traits as valuable. 3. Set achievable goals. Break down larger goals into smaller, manageable tasks. Each time you achieve one, celebrate your progress. This builds momentum and reinforces your confidence. 4. Limit social media consumption. Platforms like Instagram and Facebook often breed comparison and dissatisfaction. If scrolling leaves you feeling inadequate, consider reducing your screen time or unfollowing accounts that don't inspire positivity. 5. Surround yourself with supportive people. Spend time with individuals who uplift and encourage you. Toxic relationships can erode your self-worth, while supportive ones nurture it. 1.4 A real-life example. The power of self-worth. Let's revisit Sarah, whose story we shared earlier. After years of chasing unhealthy relationships, she realized her low self-worth was at the root of her struggles. To rebuild her confidence, she started journaling daily, focusing on 3 things she appreciated about herself each morning. She also joined a local book club, where she connected with like-minded women who celebrated her growth. Over time, Sarah noticed a dramatic change. She felt more secure in her decisions, stopped seeking validation from men, and began attracting healthier friendships. Her transformation proves that self-worth isn't just an abstract concept, it's a tangible force that shapes every aspect of your life. 2. Mastering communication skills. Once you've built a solid foundation of self-worth, the next step is mastering communication. How you express yourself plays a crucial role in creating intrigue and maintaining balanced relationships. 2.1 The art of listening. Effective communication starts with listening, not just hearing words but truly understanding the emotions behind them. When you listen attentively, you show respect and empathy, which fosters deeper connections. As Stephen R. Covey wrote in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, most people do not listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. To become a better listener, maintain eye contact and give your full attention. Avoid interrupting or jumping to conclusions. Ask thoughtful questions to clarify what the other person is saying. By practicing active listening, you create space for meaningful conversations that leave others feeling valued. 2.2 Speaking with purpose. While listening is essential, how you speak matters just as much. Confident communication involves clarity, authenticity, and intentionality. Here's how to refine your speaking style. 1. Use positive language. Frame your thoughts in a way that inspires rather than discourages. For instance, instead of saying, "I can't do this," try, "This is challenging, but I'm learning." 2. Be concise. Rambling dilutes your message and makes it harder for others to follow. Practice expressing your ideas succinctly without sacrificing depth. 3. Speak with conviction. Use a steady tone and confident body language to convey authority. Even if you're nervous, standing tall and making deliberate gestures can project assurance. 2.3 Creating intrigue through mystery. One of the most effective ways to enhance your communication is by leaving room for curiosity. Share bits of yourself gradually rather than revealing everything at once. For example, if someone asks about your hobbies, mention 1 or 2 briefly and let them ask follow-up questions. This approach keeps the conversation engaging and sparks their interest. A famous example of this principle comes from the world of literature. In F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, J. Gatsby captivates everyone around him not by flaunting his wealth but by hinting at its origins. His mysterious persona fuels endless speculation, drawing others into his orbit. While you don't need to emulate Gatsby's secrecy, adopting a similar air of subtlety can work wonders in personal interactions. 2.4 Handling difficult conversations. Not all communication is smooth sailing. Sometimes you'll face disagreements or conflicts that require finesse. Here's how to navigate tough discussions. Stay calm, keep your emotions in check and focus on resolving the issue rather than winning the argument. Use I statements. Express your feelings without blaming the other person. For example, say, "I feel hurt when plans change last minute," instead of, "You always cancel on me." Seek common ground. Look for solutions that benefit both parties. This collaborative approach fosters mutual respect and strengthens the relationship. By mastering these communication skills, you'll not only enhance your ability to connect with others but also reinforce your image as someone who is confident, thoughtful, and intriguing. 3. Building strong relationships through scarcity. Now that we've covered self-worth and communication, let's explore how to apply the principle of scarcity to nurture stronger, more meaningful relationships. Scarcity isn't about withholding affection or attention, it's about creating moments of absence that heighten appreciation. 3.1 The importance of presence and absence. In any relationship, balance is key. Being present shows that you care, while occasional absences remind others of your value. Think of it like breathing. Inhales represent connection, and exhales signify space. Both are necessary for healthy dynamics. For instance, imagine a close friendship where you're always available. While your loyalty is admirable, constant availability can lead to complacency. On the other hand, if you occasionally take time for yourself, whether it's pursuing personal interests or simply recharging, your friend will likely miss your presence and cherish your company even more when you reconnect. 3.2 How to practice healthy scarcity. Here are some practical ways to incorporate scarcity into your relationships. 1. Don't always be the first to reach out, allow others to initiate contact sometimes. This demonstrates that your presence isn't guaranteed and encourages them to invest in the relationship. 2. Create space for independence. Encourage your loved ones to pursue their passions and hobbies. When you support their individual growth, you strengthen the bond by showing trust and respect. 3. Plan intentional reconnections. After periods of distance, make your reunions special. Whether it's planning a fun activity or simply sharing a heartfelt conversation, these moments reinforce the joy of being together. 3.3 Real-life example: the power couple. Consider the story of Mia and Daniel, a married couple who struggled with monotony in their relationship. They were deeply committed to each other but found themselves falling into routines that lacked excitement. To reignite their spark, they decided to implement a strategy inspired by scarcity. Every month, they designated one weekend as me time. During this period, they pursued separate activities. Mia took art classes, while Daniel went hiking with friends. At first, they worried that spending less time together might strain their bond. But to their surprise, the opposite happened. Their weekends apart gave them stories to share and renewed their appreciation for each other. As Mia put it, "When we came back together, it felt like dating all over again. We had so much to talk about and missed each other in a way we hadn't in years." By embracing scarcity, they transformed their marriage into a source of ongoing discovery and joy. 3.4 Avoiding miscommunication. While scarcity can strengthen relationships, it's important to communicate your intentions clearly. If you suddenly become distant without explanation, it may create confusion or insecurity. Instead, frame your actions positively. For example, tell your partner, "I'm going to focus on my yoga practice this weekend. It's something I've been wanting to do for myself. I can't wait to catch up with you afterward." This transparency ensures that your efforts to embrace scarcity are seen as acts of self-care rather than neglect. 4. Embracing unattainability in professional settings. The principles of unattainability extend beyond personal relationships. They're equally powerful in professional contexts. Whether you're networking, negotiating, or leading a team, adopting an aura of selectivity can elevate your influence and success. 4.1 Networking with purpose. Networking events often feel transactional, with people exchanging business cards without forming genuine connections. To stand out, focus on quality over quantity. Instead of trying to meet everyone, engage deeply with a few individuals who align with your goals or values. For example, if you're attending a conference, identify 3 key people you'd like to connect with beforehand. Research their work, prepare thoughtful questions, and follow up afterward with personalized messages. This targeted approach signals that your time is valuable and leaves a lasting impression. 4.2 Negotiating from strength. In negotiations, scarcity can be a game changer. By positioning yourself or your offerings as exclusive, you increase perceived value. For instance, if you're freelancing, mention that you have limited availability due to high demand. This creates urgency and motivates potential clients to act quickly. However, authenticity is critical. Don't fabricate scarcity. Focus on delivering exceptional quality that naturally limits your capacity. As entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk advises, respect your craft, and people will respect you. 4.3 Leading with confidence. As a leader, embracing unattainability means setting high standards and expecting excellence. This doesn't mean being unapproachable. Rather, it involves earning respect through competence and integrity. When your team knows you hold yourself accountable, they'll be inspired to do the same. A great example comes from Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo. Known for her visionary leadership, she balanced accessibility with authority, ensuring her presence was impactful yet selective. Her ability to command respect while fostering collaboration made her one of the most admired executives in corporate history. 5. Practical takeaways for everyday life. To summarize, here are actionable steps to apply the principles of unattainability in real life. 1. Boost your self-worth. Cultivate confidence by celebrating your strengths, practicing self-compassion, and surrounding yourself with supportive people. 2. Master communication skills. Listen actively, speak with purpose, and leave room for curiosity to keep interactions engaging. 3. Embrace scarcity in relationships. Balance presence with absence, encourage independence, and plan intentional reconnections to deepen bonds. 4. Apply unattainability professionally, network strategically, negotiate from strength, and lead with confidence to enhance your career trajectory. 6. Overcoming fear of rejection. One of the biggest barriers to embracing unattainability is the fear of rejection. Many people hesitate to set boundaries or create distance because they worry it will lead to disapproval or loss of connection. However, overcoming this fear is essential for personal growth and healthier relationships. 6.1 Understanding the fear. Rejection stings because it taps into our primal need for belonging. Evolutionarily speaking, humans relied on social groups for survival, so being excluded triggered a threat response. While modern society has evolved, our brains still react strongly to perceived rejection. But here's the truth: rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's often about the other person's preferences, circumstances, or insecurities. As author J.K. Rowling once said, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all." 6.2 Reframing rejection. Instead of viewing rejection as failure, see it as redirection. Every no brings you closer to the right opportunities and people who truly value you. For example, if someone ghosts you after you set a boundary, it simply means they weren't ready to respect your needs. If a job offer falls through despite your efforts, it opens the door for a role that better aligns with your goals. The key is to detach your self-worth from external outcomes and trust that life has bigger plans for you. 6.3 Building resilience. Here are 3 strategies to build resilience against rejection. 1. Visualize positive outcomes. Before taking risks, like saying no or pursuing a bold opportunity, imagine the best-case scenario. This primes your mind for success rather than dwelling on worst-case fears. 2. Practice gradual exposure. Start small by setting minor boundaries or initiating conversations that make you slightly uncomfortable. Each time you succeed, your confidence grows. 3. Reflect on past wins. Think back to times when you faced rejection but eventually triumphed. Remind yourself that setbacks are temporary and survivable. 6.4 A real-life example. Turning rejection into triumph. Let's look at the story of Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. Before becoming a billionaire entrepreneur, she faced countless rejections while pitching her idea for footless pantyhose. Retailers dismissed her product as unnecessary, and investors refused to fund her vision. But instead of giving up, Blakely leaned into her belief in the concept. She famously said, "Embrace what you don't know, especially in the beginning, because what you don't know can become your greatest asset." Her perseverance paid off when Neiman Marcus agreed to carry Spanx in 7 stores. Within weeks, the product flew off shelves, sparking a global phenomenon. Blakely's story reminds us that rejection isn't the end, it's often the beginning of something extraordinary. 7. Cultivating emotional independence. Another cornerstone of becoming unattainable is developing emotional independence. When you rely too heavily on others for validation or happiness, you give them power over your emotions. By cultivating inner stability, you free yourself from this dependency and radiate authenticity. 7.1 What is emotional independence? Emotional independence means deriving your sense of fulfillment from within rather than seeking it externally. It doesn't mean isolating yourself, it means finding peace regardless of external circumstances. As psychiatrist Viktor Frankl wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies our freedom to choose." When you take ownership of your emotions, you stop reacting impulsively to others' words or actions. Instead, you respond thoughtfully, maintaining control over your state of mind. 7.2 Signs of emotional dependence. If you struggle with emotional dependence, you may notice these patterns. Feeling anxious or upset when someone doesn't text back immediately. Tying your mood to others' opinions or behaviors. Avoiding conflict to maintain harmony, even at the cost of your values. Recognizing these tendencies is the first step toward breaking free from them. 7.3 Strategies to build emotional independence. Here are 5 ways to strengthen your emotional resilience. 1. Practice mindfulness. Spend a few minutes each day observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Apps like Headspace or Calm can guide you through meditation exercises. 2. Develop a growth mindset. View challenges as opportunities to learn rather than threats to your ego. For instance, if a project fails, ask yourself, what can I improve next time? Instead of dwelling on disappointment. 3. Set internal benchmarks. Measure success based on your progress rather than comparisons to others. Celebrate milestones that reflect your personal journey. 4. Build a supportive inner circle. Surround yourself with people who uplift and challenge you to grow. Distance yourself from toxic influences that drain your energy. 5. Engage in solo activities. Spend time alone doing things you enjoy, whether it's reading, painting, or hiking. These moments reinforce your ability to find joy independently. 7.4 The impact of emotional independence. When you cultivate emotional independence, you become less reactive and more grounded. Others notice this shift. They'll see you as someone who's secure, calm, and capable of handling adversity. This aura of stability naturally draws people toward you, creating deeper, more meaningful connections. For example, consider the story of Emma, a woman who struggled with codependency in her friendships. She would constantly seek reassurance and felt devastated when friends didn't reciprocate her intensity. After working on her emotional independence through therapy and journaling, Emma began prioritizing her own needs and setting clearer boundaries. Her friends noticed the change and started respecting her more, leading to healthier, more balanced relationships. 8. Creating lasting change through consistency. Finally, let's talk about consistency, the secret ingredient to transforming unattainability from a concept into a lifestyle. Sustainable change doesn't happen overnight. It requires dedication and patience. Here's how to stay committed to your journey. 8.1 Why consistency matters. Consistency builds trust, not just with others but also with yourself. When you consistently honor your boundaries, prioritize self-care, and communicate authentically, you prove to yourself and those around you that you're reliable and intentional. As motivational speaker Zig Ziglar once said, "Success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals." 8.2 Staying motivated. Maintaining consistency can be challenging, especially when results aren't immediate. Here are some tips to keep you motivated. Track your progress. Keep a journal to document your wins, no matter how small. Seeing tangible evidence of improvement boosts motivation. Celebrate milestones. Reward yourself for sticking to your commitments. Whether it's treating yourself to dinner or taking a day off to relax, acknowledgement reinforces positive habits. Find accountability partners. Share your goals with trusted friends or mentors who can encourage you during tough times. 8.3 Overcoming plateaus. At some point, you may feel like you're not making progress. This is normal. It's part of the growth process. During these phases, revisit your why. Remind yourself why you started this journey. Connecting with your purpose reignites passion. Adjust your approach. Experiment with new strategies or perspectives. Sometimes, a fresh angle is all you need to break through stagnation. Be patient. Growth takes time. Trust the process and focus on incremental improvements. 8.4 A final thought, the ripple effect. When you commit to becoming unattainable in a healthy, authentic way, the benefits extend far beyond your personal life. You inspire others to value themselves, foster mutual respect in relationships, and contribute positively to your community. As Mahatma Gandhi famously said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." By embodying these principles, you create a ripple effect that transforms not only your life but also the lives of those around you. Chapter 4: Overcoming Common Mistakes. In this final chapter, we'll address some of the most common pitfalls people encounter when trying to become unattainable, and how to avoid them. While the principles of scarcity and self-worth are powerful tools, they can backfire if not applied thoughtfully. Here, we'll tackle 3 critical areas where mistakes often occur: avoiding arrogance while being confident, balancing independence with connection, and staying true to yourself. By mastering these nuances, you'll ensure that your journey toward unattainability remains authentic and effective. Let's dive in. 1. Avoiding arrogance while being confident. One of the biggest misconceptions about confidence is that it equates to arrogance. In reality, there's a vast difference between the two, and understanding this distinction is crucial for maintaining healthy relationships. 1.1 The fine line between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is rooted in self-assurance and authenticity, while arrogance stems from insecurity masked as superiority. Confident individuals inspire admiration and trust because they radiate positivity and humility. Arrogant individuals, on the other hand, alienate others by making them feel inferior or dismissed. As author C.S. Lewis once said, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less." True confidence doesn't require putting others down, it uplifts everyone involved. 1.2 Signs you're crossing into arrogance. If you're unsure whether you're coming across as arrogant, watch for these red flags. Interrupting others frequently during conversations. Dominating discussions without allowing input from others. Boasting about achievements or possessions excessively. Dismissing feedback or criticism outright. These behaviors signal a lack of empathy and respect, which are essential components of any meaningful relationship. 1.3 How to stay humble while being confident. Here are 5 strategies to maintain confidence without veering into arrogance. 1. Practice active listening. Show genuine interest in what others have to say. Ask thoughtful questions and acknowledge their perspectives. 2. Celebrate others' successes. Compliment colleagues, friends, or partners on their achievements. This fosters camaraderie and demonstrates emotional intelligence. 3. Admit mistakes openly. No one expects perfection. Owning up to errors shows vulnerability and builds trust. 4. Focus on contribution. Shift your mindset from, "What can I gain?" to, "How can I add value?" When you prioritize helping others, you naturally exude warmth and humility. 5. Seek feedback regularly. Constructive criticism helps you grow and reassures others that you value their opinions. 1.4 A real-life example. The charismatic leader. Consider the story of Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft. When he took over the company in 2014, Microsoft was struggling with internal competition and declining morale. Nadella transformed the culture by embracing humility and collaboration. Instead of asserting dominance, he encouraged employees to innovate fearlessly and learn from failures. His approach paid off. Under his leadership, Microsoft became one of the world's most valuable companies. Nadella's success proves that confidence paired with humility creates an unstoppable combination. 2. Balancing independence and connection. Another challenge in becoming unattainable is striking the right balance between independence and connection. Too much independence can lead to isolation, while too much dependency stifles personal growth. Let's explore how to find harmony between these two extremes. 2.1 Why balance is essential. Independence gives you the freedom to pursue your passions and set boundaries, but human beings are wired for connection. Relationships provide emotional support, shared experiences, and opportunities for growth. Ignoring either side of this equation can leave you feeling unfulfilled. As psychologist Abraham Maslow explained in his hierarchy of needs, belonging and love rank just below physiological and safety needs in importance. Striking a balance ensures that you meet both your individual and relational needs. 2.2 Signs of imbalance. If you lean too far toward independence, you may notice difficulty asking for help or relying on others, feeling disconnected or lonely despite outward success, struggling to form deep, lasting bonds. Conversely, leaning too far toward dependency might manifest as over-reliance on others for validation or decision-making, fear of being alone or taking risks independently, losing your sense of identity within relationships. 2.3 Strategies for finding balance. Here are 4 ways to nurture both independence and connection. 1. Set clear boundaries. Communicate your needs and limits while remaining open to compromise. For example, if you need alone time to recharge, let loved ones know, but also schedule regular check-ins to stay connected. 2. Pursue shared interests. Engage in activities that bring you joy and align with your partner's or friend's hobbies. This strengthens your bond while honoring your individuality. 3. Practice reciprocity. Ensure that give and take flows evenly in your relationships. If you're always giving or always taking, resentment can build. 4. Schedule me time. Dedicate specific periods to focus solely on yourself, whether it's exercising, journaling, or pursuing a passion project. This reinforces your autonomy while leaving room for meaningful interactions. 2.4 A real-life example, the balanced couple. Meet Rachel and James, a couple who struggled with finding equilibrium in their marriage. Rachel valued her career and personal space, while James craved constant companionship. Their differing needs led to tension until they implemented a simple yet effective strategy: alternating nights. On together nights, they planned date nights or cozy evenings at home. On independent nights, each pursued their own interests. Rachel attended yoga classes, and James joined a book club. This structure allowed them to honor their individuality while nurturing their partnership. As Rachel shared, "We realized we didn't need to be together all the time to prove our love. Sometimes, missing each other makes the moments we share even sweeter." 3. Staying true to yourself. The final pitfall to avoid is losing sight of your authentic self in the pursuit of unattainability. While adopting new behaviors and mindsets is valuable, staying grounded in your core values ensures long-term fulfillment. 3.1 Why authenticity matters. Authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are genuine and consistent. Attempting to mimic someone else's version of unattainability, or sacrificing your values for external validation, will ultimately leave you feeling hollow. As poet Rumi wisely wrote, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken. Your uniqueness is your greatest asset." 3.2 Signs you're losing authenticity. If you're compromising who you are, you may notice feeling drained or resentful after social interactions, pretending to enjoy activities or conversations that don't resonate with you, seeking approval at the expense of your beliefs or priorities. 3.3 Strategies to stay authentic. Here are 5 ways to remain true to yourself while embracing unattainability. 1. Reflect on your values. Identify what matters most to you, whether it's honesty, creativity, or kindness, and use these principles as your compass. 2. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Build a community that supports and celebrates your authentic self. 3. Say no without guilt. Politely decline invitations or requests that conflict with your values. Remember, saying no to something allows you to say yes to what truly matters. 4. Express gratitude. Regularly acknowledge the aspects of your life that bring you joy and fulfillment. This reinforces your sense of purpose. 5. Embrace imperfection. Accept that no one is perfect, including you. Vulnerability is a hallmark of authenticity. 3.4 A real-life example. The artist who found her voice. Let's revisit Audrey Hepburn, whose legacy extends beyond her acting career. Early in her life, she faced pressure to conform to Hollywood's standards of beauty and behavior. But instead of chasing trends, Hepburn stayed true to her unique style and humanitarian passions. She famously said, "Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible." By embracing her individuality, she became an icon, not just for her elegance but for her compassion and grace. Hepburn's story reminds us that authenticity is timeless and universally appealing. 4. Overcoming the fear of being misunderstood. One of the most common fears when adopting the mindset of unattainability is the worry that others will misunderstand your intentions. You may fear being labeled as aloof, disinterested, or even manipulative. However, overcoming this fear is essential to fully embracing the principles we've discussed. 4.1 Why misunderstandings happen. Misunderstandings often arise because people interpret actions through their own lens of expectations and experiences. For example, if someone is accustomed to constant availability from you, they may initially struggle to adapt when you begin setting boundaries or practicing scarcity. This doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, it simply reflects their adjustment period. As author Anais Nin once said, "We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are." People's reactions are shaped by their perceptions, not necessarily by your true intentions. 4.2 How to address misunderstandings gracefully. Here are 4 strategies to navigate potential misunderstandings. 1. Communicate your intentions clearly when implementing changes, such as taking more time for yourself or setting firmer boundaries. Explain your reasoning calmly and respectfully. For example, say, "I'm focusing on my personal growth right now, and I hope you'll support me in this journey." 2. Invite open dialogue. Encourage others to share their feelings or concerns. This fosters mutual understanding and prevents resentment from building up. 3. Stay patient. Change takes time, especially for those around you. Be patient as they adjust to your new approach, and avoid reacting defensively to initial resistance. 4. Lead by example. Demonstrate the benefits of your mindset shift through your actions. When others see how confident, balanced, and fulfilled you've become, they'll likely come to appreciate your transformation. 4.3 A real-life example. The friend who grew. Consider the story of Emily, who decided to embrace unattainability after years of feeling overwhelmed by her social circle's demands. At first, her friends were confused and even hurt by her reduced availability. But instead of retreating further, Emily invited them to coffee and explained her decision. She said, "I love spending time with all of you, but I've realized I need to prioritize my mental health too. It's not about pulling away, it's about showing up better for myself and for you." Her honesty reassured her friends, and over time, they grew to respect her boundaries. Emily's experience proves that transparency and empathy can turn potential misunderstandings into opportunities for deeper connection. 5. Embracing unattainability as a lifelong practice. Becoming unattainable isn't a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong practice that evolves alongside your personal growth and changing circumstances. To sustain this mindset, it's important to continuously reflect, adapt, and refine your approach. 5.1 The importance of reflection. Regular self-reflection allows you to assess whether your behaviors align with your goals and values. Ask yourself, am I maintaining healthy boundaries without becoming isolated? Do I feel confident and fulfilled in my relationships? Are there areas where I could improve my communication or emotional independence? Journaling is an excellent tool for reflection. By documenting your thoughts and progress, you create a record of your growth and identify patterns that need adjustment. 5.2 Adapting to life's changes. Life is dynamic, and so are relationships. What works in one phase of life may not work in another. For instance, the boundaries you set in your 20s might differ from those in your 40s due to shifts in priorities, responsibilities, and perspectives. Stay flexible and open to recalibrating your approach as needed. As entrepreneur Tony Robbins advises, stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach. 5.3 Refining your skills. Just as athletes train consistently to maintain peak performance, you must continually hone the skills we've discussed: self-worth, communication, boundary setting, and emotional intelligence. Seek out resources like books, workshops, or therapy to deepen your understanding and sharpen your abilities. For example, reading Brené Brown's Daring Greatly can enhance your grasp of vulnerability, while practicing mindfulness meditation can strengthen your emotional regulation. 5.4 A final thought: the journey never ends. Remember, becoming unattainable isn't about reaching a destination, it's about committing to a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. As you grow, so will your capacity to inspire and influence others positively. As poet Maya Angelou beautifully put it, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Let this philosophy guide you as you continue refining your mindset and relationships. Audiobook conclusion. Throughout this audiobook, we've embarked on a transformative journey to uncover the psychology and power of becoming unattainable. Let's recap the key lessons that will guide you toward healthier relationships, greater self-worth, and personal success. 1. The psychology of attraction. Human attraction is rooted in physical, emotional, and psychological factors. Confidence, authenticity, and mystery play pivotal roles in drawing people in. Scarcity creates value. When you're not always available, others naturally crave your presence. 2. The power of becoming unattainable. Being overly available or needy diminishes your perceived worth. Setting boundaries and practicing scarcity fosters respect and intrigue. Real-life examples demonstrated how embracing unattainability transforms relationships and elevates personal growth. 3. Applying the principles in real life. Boosting self-worth, mastering communication skills, and building stronger relationships through scarcity are actionable steps you can implement daily. Overcoming fear of rejection and cultivating emotional independence empower you to navigate life with confidence. 4. Overcoming common mistakes. Avoid arrogance by staying humble and empathetic. Balance independence with connection to nurture fulfilling relationships. Stay true to yourself and embrace lifelong learning to ensure your transformation remains authentic and impactful. These principles aren't just theoretical, they're practical tools designed to help you thrive in every aspect of life. Now that you've gained these insights, it's time to take action. Remember, knowledge without application is like a car without fuel. It won't get you anywhere. Here's how you can start implementing what you've learned today. Commit to small changes. Begin with one area of your life where you want to improve, whether it's setting boundaries, boosting your self-worth, or enhancing your communication skills. Small, consistent actions lead to big results over time. Be patient with yourself. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. Celebrate each step forward, no matter how small, and forgive yourself for setbacks along the way. Visualize your success. Imagine the person you want to become, the confident, balanced, and fulfilled version of yourself. Let this vision motivate you to keep pushing forward. As motivational speaker Les Brown once said, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." Take the first step today, and trust that every effort brings you closer to the life you desire. Thank you for joining us on this wisdom journey. If you found this audiobook helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Audiobooks for more transformative content. Your support means everything to us. Before we part ways, I want to leave you with one final thought. The only limits that exist are the ones you choose to accept. You have the power to shape your reality, to become unattainable in a way that honors your worth and inspires those around you. Believe in yourself, stay committed to your growth, and watch as the world responds to the incredible person you're becoming. Until next time, keep shining brightly. Your wisdom journey continues beyond this audiobook. Embrace it fully.